They say beauty is pain, but in this future, it's mandatory. And no one knows that better than Tally Youngblood. She spent her whole life waiting for the operation that will turn her into a pretty. But when she uncovers the truth behind the procedure, everything changes. Now, she's caught between a life of perfection and a rebellion that wants to tear the system down. But Tally's not just another teenager with a makeover dream. She's about to become the face of a revolution. Hundreds of years ago, Earth's natural resources were depleted, leading to global conflict and societal collapse. In response, scientists developed genetically modified orchids to serve as a new energy source. To eliminate conflict, they also introduced the transformation, a mandatory procedure at age 16 that alters a person's appearance to an idealized version of themselves. Those who undergo the procedure are called pretties and live in the city, while those who haven't are called uglies and reside in dorms in Uglyville. Tally in Ugly looks forward to becoming a pretty. She frequently uses a mirror app to preview her post-transformation appearance. Her best friend is Paris, and they've had nicknames for each other since childhood. At night, they sometimes sneak out to a bridge and use glasses to watch the pretties celebrating in the city. Tally has 3 months until her transformation, but Paris, who is older, will undergo the procedure the next day. They share matching scars on their hands and agree not to let the operation remove them. When a patrol drone approaches, they retreat to their dorms. The next day, during assembly, Tally hears students talking about the Smoke, a rumored place outside the city led by someone named David. It's believed that some people flee to this area to avoid the procedure, though many doubt it exists. A hologram of Governor Cable appears, emphasizing the importance of being pretty. Those turning 16 are called forward. Tally says goodbye to Paris, who promises to meet her at the bridge in 1 month. In the evening, Tally watches fireworks over the city and thinks back to meeting Paris. Her parents had just dropped her off at the dorms, and Paris was behind her in line. They gave each other nicknames and quickly became best friends. One day, Paris cut his hand while grabbing a tablet from Tally, so she gave herself a matching scar to seal their friendship. Weeks pass. Tally goes to class and regularly checks her appearance in the mirror. She also checks her interface ring, but there are no messages from Paris. After a month, she hacks her window open using the ring and leaves it behind to avoid being tracked. She sneaks out and heads to the bridge, but Paris doesn't show. Worried, she uses a rope to climb up and crawl beneath the bridge until she reaches the city. Tally hides in the bushes near a party and grabs a discarded mask from a guest. When she puts it on, the mask projects a holographic dress over her body, allowing her to blend in and enter the event. Inside, she's stunned by the decorations. Eventually, she finds Paris, but he looks completely different and doesn't recognize her. When she removes the mask, he explains that things have changed since his transformation, and he no longer feels connected to her. Tally notices his scar is gone, confirming how much he's changed. Suddenly, the party's security system detects her. Tally runs from the guards but gets trapped on a balcony. She grabs a bungee jacket and jumps. The jacket slows her fall, allowing her to land safely. She escapes by climbing under the bridge again. While fleeing, she accidentally knocks a stone into the water, drawing the attention of a patrol drone. As the drone closes in, her classmate Shay appears on a hoverboard and picks her up. They speed through the woods, and Shay loses the drone with fast, sharp turns. Back at the dorms, Tally thanks her by sneaking into the kitchen and stealing snacks. They talk about being left behind while their friends became pretties. They realize they share the same birthday and look forward to transforming together. The next day, Shay brings a second hoverboard and tries to teach Tally to ride, but Tally immediately falls off. At school, Tally is surprised to see Shay receive a book from some other girls, since books are rarely seen anymore. The girls are curious about the book's details on surviving in nature and wonder if that's what the Smoke is like. Tally borrows the book. When the others praise her for last night's stunt, she realizes Shay told them and gets frustrated. She worries this might cost her the operation, but Shay reassures her that the system intends for everyone to become pretty. Over the next few days, Tally reads the book, but continues to think about the operation. Shay teaches her more hoverboard skills, and in return, Tally hacks her ring to get them extra food. Tally shows Shay her pretty designs from the app, but Shay doesn't have an account and isn't interested in the operation. As Tally improves her flying, the girls start using ramps and challenging terrain to test their skills. When Tally returns the book, she says she'd like to visit the kind of nature it described. Shay says skipping the operation wouldn't be so bad, but Tally disagrees. Shay then mentions the smoke and takes Tally to the edge of the forest. They leave their interface rings behind and ride their hoverboards over the river, crossing the city's boundary. They reach the ruins of an old city, where Shay points out remnants like roller coasters. Inside an abandoned building, Shay reveals that the smoke is real and David will arrive soon. She plans to leave that night to avoid the surgery and wants Tally to come with her. Tally refuses, saying she doesn't want freedom, she wants to be pretty. Shay gives her directions to the smoke in case she changes her mind, then leaves on her hoverboard, heading toward the light of David's fire in the distance. The next day is Tally's birthday. She goes to the clinic expecting her operation, but her name isn't called. Instead, a guard escorts her onto an aircraft and takes her to see Dr. Cable. Cable tells her Shay is missing. When Tally claims she doesn't know anything, Cable checks her vitals, which shows she's lying. Cable says Shay is in danger, claiming David is known for manipulating people and holding them against their will. Cable sends Tally back to her dorm without the surgery. That night, Paris appears at her window. Tally explains the situation, and Paris suggests she should cooperate with Cable so they can be together again. The next day, Tally is taken back to see Cable. Cable claims David is building a weapon to attack the city and needs Tally to infiltrate the smoke. Tally agrees. Cable promises she'll get the operation if she succeeds and gives her a necklace that flashes a light in her eyes. Tally must activate it once she finds the weapon. Tally follows Shay's directions and rides a hoverboard along an old roller coaster track. After a few miles, she hits a gap and falls into the woods, but is caught by a force field. She lands near abandoned train tracks and starts following them to find the smoke. For several days, she survives outdoors, using knowledge from the survival book. She climbs a mountain and travels until the tracks break off across a deep chasm. She uses the hoverboard to jump the gap, but it shuts down mid-air. She falls fast, but the board reactivates just before impact, and she lands safely. She waits in a field of flowers as instructed. Meanwhile, Cable meets with Paris and reveals she told him to visit Tally's dorm. Paris admits it felt good to return to the city. Cable then offers him a chance to undergo a new enhancement procedure, and Paris agrees. That night, Tally wakes up to smoke. The field is on fire and she's unsure what to do until someone rescues her. It's David. He scans Tally and her belongings for trackers, finds one inside the hoverboard, and removes it. The scanner doesn't react to the necklace. At the same time, Cable's team receives a signal about the tracker being removed and dispatches a search team. In the morning, David brings Tally to a smoke outpost where she reunites with Shay. Shay is excited to see her, but Croy remains suspicious. That night, the group camps, and Shay notices the necklace. Tally claims it was a gift from Paris. Tally is confused by Shay's happiness, considering what Cable said, and expresses concern. Shay misinterprets it as Tally trying to convince her to return. After an argument, Tally agrees to stay and give the smoke a chance. The next day, Tally learns the smoke intentionally burns orchid fields because the plants are toxic and harm the environment. She initially believes the orchids are part of a clean energy solution, but David explains that this is a government cover-up and the flowers are actually contributing to environmental destruction. He invites Tally on a mission to prove it. Croy objects, but Shay supports Tally. The group uses a repaired helicopter outfitted with solar panels to survey the area. From above, Tally sees that the former orchid fields are now barren land. Shay uses a flamethrower to burn the remaining plants. While doing so, Croy's tablet detects nearby movement. To avoid detection, David lowers the helicopter into the smoke. The shift causes the rope holding Shay to loosen, and she falls. As Cable's scouts close in, Tally attaches a bag to the rope for weight and descends. The helicopter begins to lose lift while Tally searches the burning field. She finds Shay, and when a scout approaches, Tally throws the burning bag at him. The two girls climb the rope, and the helicopter escapes just as another scout tries to grab on. After landing, Croy accuses Tally of leading the scouts to them, but Shay defends her. David believes anyone willing to risk their life for the smoke deserves a chance. That night, the group sets up camp. Tally can't sleep, distracted by memories of Cable and the manipulation tactics she was taught. She leaves the tent and sees David bathing in the river, then quietly returns. The next day, Tally is blindfolded and taken to the smoke's main settlement. She sees a self-sustaining community living in harmony with nature. Life is harder than in the city, but the food is fresher and more satisfying. Everyone works, there's no currency, and goods are traded. People live there voluntarily. Old train tracks are repurposed into tools, but they don't make weapons because they reject violence. One afternoon, Tally finds a locked door and tries to peek inside, but Croy catches her and sends her away. She begins helping with the track work, tries spicy food, and joins in group dancing around the fire. Later, David teaches her how to use a crossbow. After some practice, she manages to hit the target. On their way back, David shares that he was born and raised in the wild, never having seen the city. Tally is surprised, realizing how little she knew her own parents. David gives her a pair of gloves he made. Soon after, a smoke member returns injured from orchid burning and reports that the scouts nearby are faster and stronger than normal. Later, Shay sees Tally wearing the gloves and points out they're meaningful. Since David made them, giving them to Tally shows he has feelings for her. Shay urges Tally to stop hesitating and make a decision. On her next walk with David, Tally brings up the rumor of a weapon meant to destroy the city. David responds by taking her to a secluded house away from the camp. Tally meets David's parents, Aze and Maddie, who are in charge of protecting a hidden collection of books. They were formerly cosmetic surgeons working for the government, but became suspicious after noticing anomalies in some test results. Their investigation revealed that the surgeries weren't just for appearance. Patients were also subjected to brain modifications. The procedure made people slower, less aware, and falsely content, making them easier to control. Many patients also died during the operation, though this was kept hidden from the public. When Cable discovered that Aze and Maddie had uncovered the truth, she confiscated all of their research. To keep doctors functional, the state secretly provided them with a temporary cure, allowing them to think clearly. Refusing to comply, Aze and Maddie fled the city to live in the wilderness. Since then, they've been trying to recreate the cure. They've managed to develop a base version, but they're missing one synthetic component. This incomplete cure is the weapon they believe could take down the city. After learning the truth, Tally throws her necklace into the fire, choosing to stay with the smoke. She tries to confess her past actions to David, but he brushes it off and they kiss. The necklace sparks in the flames. The next morning, city aircraft attack the smoke. Residents flee while scouts follow and fall into preset traps like nets and swinging logs. But the scouts are too strong and fast. The traps slow them down, but don't stop them. The scouts begin capturing the rebels one by one, including Shay. Tally and David hide while scouts pass by. David wants to fight back, but Tally convinces him to stay hidden. They sneak toward the prisoner holding area and see that Paris has become a scout. Meanwhile, Oz and Maddie are taken captive, and Cable arrives demanding David's location. When the parents refuse to cooperate, Cable orders Paris to execute Oz. David and Tally try to intervene, but they're too late. Cable then exposes Tally as one of her operatives, turning the smoke members against her. During the commotion, Maddie slips the base serum into David's pocket without anyone noticing. Cable announces that everyone will now undergo surgery. Tally runs to a supply shack, sets it on fire, grabs a crossbow, and escapes through a window just as a scout breaks in. The fire triggers an explosion, throwing the scout back and giving David a chance to escape. A scout chases him, but Tally shoots the attacker with an arrow, stopping him. Paris wants to continue the chase, but Cable orders a retreat. Some scouts destroy Maddie's research and set the area on fire, while others load the prisoners into the aircraft. Once they leave, David gathers what little gear he can for a rescue mission. When Tally approaches, he nearly stabs her, stopping just in time. She offers to help rescue the others, but David no longer trusts her. Tally argues that he needs her knowledge of the city to succeed. Later in the city, Tally finds students who had read Shay's book and introduces them to David to prove the smoke is real. She borrows one of their interface rings and asks them to gather a group to create a distraction. Soon, teens use their hoverboards to write, "The smoke lives" in the sky. While the distraction plays out, David and Tally wait for an aircraft to leave the clinic. They sneak in through the aircraft tunnel using hoverboards and land safely with bungee vests. They move quietly inside. Tally tries using the ring to open a lock, but it doesn't work. A pretty opens the door, and David immediately attacks him. After a short fight, David pins him, and Tally takes the ring. David throws the pretty into the hallway, and Tally locks the door. Alarms go off as they locate the holding cell and use the ring to free the prisoners. Tally notices Shay is missing. Croy explains Shay has already undergone the operation. While most of the group escapes, Tally, David, and Maddie go to find her. In the lab, they discover Shay has become a pretty. Tally breaks down, but Shay insists she's happy with the change. Cable and Paris arrive and force the trio into surgery machines. Just as the procedure is about to begin, a helicopter from the smoke appears. Croy fires a flamethrower, forcing Cable and Paris to retreat. The machines are damaged, and the operation fails. The trio escapes. Tally grabs Shay, and Maddie retrieves the missing synthetic component from a cabinet. On the roof, they run into Paris. Tally tries to reach him by pointing out his scar and using their old nicknames. Paris touches her face, and David misinterprets it as an attack, launching at him. Paris overpowers David, beating him badly. Before Paris can finish him, Tally uses her hoverboard to tackle him off the edge. Paris briefly holds on, says her nickname, and then falls into a waterfall. The group escapes on hoverboards. In the sky, other teens cause drones to crash into one another. They take refuge in the abandoned city. Maddie uses the component to complete the serum, but warns it may have side effects. Shay refuses to take it and doesn't want to force it on anyone. Tally volunteers to be the test subject. She'll undergo the surgery and take the cure afterward. She promises to leave a sign if it works. As Cable and the aircraft approach, the group says goodbye. Tally lets the scouts capture her. Sometime later, Tally is a model pretty living in a luxury apartment. She claims to love her new life, but a scar on her hand reveals she's still herself and working undercover.